Making babies. This is the first command in the Bible to the plants and animals, go have a bunch of kids. It's probably the most talked about topic among humans anyway. It's probably the greatest drive every plant or animal has. Greater than even appetite for food. Yeah, okay. It's the most important for the survival of the species. It's done scores of different and amazing ways, and it cannot be explained by evolution. None of them. None of the hundreds of ways that animals and plants make babies can be explained by evolution. Evolutionists, you are welcome to join in. Send your research. God said, let us make man in our image. Male and female created he them. All through the Bible, you see it. Male and female, male and female, male and female. This is going to be complicated for some of you out there, but listen close. There are only two genders. Only two. You can identify as something else. You can identify as a brick if you want. I don't care. Okay? There's two, and only two genders. And if you don't know which one, ask your mama. God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Verse 28, God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. So the demons are having a contest. One demon said, I can get those dumb humans to believe they came from a rock. His servant said, yes, master, I believe you can too. Well, I can get them to believe they came from nothing exploding, said the other demon. Those silly humans will believe anything that goes against God's word. I can get those dumb humans to believe the baby-making equipment and process just happened. Yes, master, I believe you can do that. There's no way you can do that. All the living things make babies in hundreds of complicated ways. So they're certainly having competition on how to make babies. All right, let's see. God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, be fruitful and multiply, be fruitful and multiply, fruitful, multiply. This is the first command and the greatest drive of every species that I'm aware of, okay? If I put a star by something like this, that will indicate the evolution believers need to give a real scientific explanation of how this step in the reproduction process came about by blind chance. I don't want a just so story or a fairy tale. I want real, empirical, repeatable science. How did this happen? When it becomes obvious to all that the evolution religion cannot offer step-by-step scientific evidence for how these amazing steps took place without a designer, we would like the evolutionists to admit they have a religion and help us remove it from all public schools, science centers, and museums. If it's publicly funded, they shouldn't be teaching one religion. Anybody else agree with that? Yeah, go start your own privately funded organization and teach your dumb religion to anybody who wants to learn it. That's fine. Instead of when it becomes obvious, okay? All right. Some reproduction is seasonal. Some is annual. Some are stimulated by sight, some by taste. You know what turns the giraffe on? He tastes the female's pee. Man, am I glad I'm not a giraffe, okay? Some are stimulated by sound, like the lyrebird. If it involves two individuals, does the female assist, does she resist, or does she persist? Is she chasing him, trying to get his attention? It's all kinds of different ways, okay? Does the plant or animal die soon after its reproductive season? How could that evolve? They just live long enough to reproduce and then they die. I would like an explanation from evolution for these as we cover them tonight. Okay, we're only going to cover a couple. This is going to go for a long time. Do the parents assist the babies with food, with education, with protection? Some just, okay, kid, you're on your own. Have the baby and you're done, right? How many steps are involved at the cellular level, at the fertilization level? How many steps are involved? At the development level? How many things have to go just right to make it work? How many things could go wrong to make it not work? Oh man, a whole bunch, right? Hammerhead sharks, Komodo dragons, mole salamanders, and an assortment of other reptiles, fish, and insects can all produce offspring without mating. Now that sounds boring, okay? It all starts with something called a germ cell. The germ cell splits in two, and then each of the halves splits again. Praise God, I'm not a hammerhead. Okay, let's see. There's mitosis and meiosis. We'll talk about that. How did this evolve, guys? Come on now. I know you believe in it. Give us, if it's real science, if evolution is science like you say, Give a scientific explanation. There isn't one. I defy you to find one. 8 species that are bending the rules of reproduction. I want you to pick one plant, and anybody can help me on this. So I'm going to cover 3 of them tonight if we get time. Somebody sent me the details and did some slides already. Great job. I'll show you that in a minute. Does it involve contact or no contact? There are some, they got to touch each other. Some, they don't touch each other. Is it seasonal or random? Do the babies require care, or are they on their own from birth? Are they born alive or in an egg for a while? Does it require 1 parent or 2? Do any of them require 3 parents or 47? 47 genders. I hope stupidity is not contagious through the internet, brother, because okay. What's unusual or complex about the entire process from start to finish? You're helping me put this series together. Pick an animal or plant and research. Answer these questions, okay? Could this be explained by random evolution, or would it require a designer? Does it produce 1 baby at a time, or many, or thousands? Some have thousands at a time. Yeah. How did that evolve, okay? Research your plant or animal, include references, collect images and data, prepare the PowerPoint slides, and send it to me, or bring it to me, or join me on the video. Even you atheists, pick your plant or animal. If you think you know how it evolved, you can sit right here, we'll discuss it, and you can be on my program, and you can defend your religion. I think this thing evolved the ability to reproduce and go through the steps. That'd be fair. You don't invite me to your classroom, do you? Well, I'm inviting you, okay? Mission impossible. Prepare a video on how this method of making babies could not possibly have evolved. You can all join me in a long-term project that will become its own video series called Making Babies. Everyone, young or old, friend or foe, is welcome to help. I'd like you to help me collect all the various ways they make babies and ask the evolutionists to explain how the process evolves slowly by chance mutations with no intelligent input. For each or any of these life forms, we'll call it LF, I would like those who believe in evolution to answer these simple questions. Why would this life form want to reproduce at all? Since that only uses lots of resources, risks harm or death to the parents, and increases competition for resources. Why did all of them learn to reproduce? Why didn't any of these life forms just evolve the ability to live forever? Come on, evolutionists, answer that, okay? What scientific evidence is there to show the millions of steps required to develop this ability to reproduce? Show scientific, not theoretical, evidence for each step. Isn't that what science does? Yeah. How did both the male and female develop at the same time, in the same place, and have an interest in reproducing? What if the male evolved 5,000 miles away from the female? Oh well, try again a few million years later. Yeah. Show scientific evidence for each step. We will produce a video series called Making Babies to show these amazing variation and in reproduction had to be designed. And we will invite people to get to know the designer personally as their savior. The video series, Incredible Creatures, shown here, that's incredible. You got to watch that. Show your kids that series. I don't know where, look it up online, okay? Birds and Flowers wrote to me a week ago, someone who comments on my channel. In the comment section, Birds and Flowers gave a perfect example of what I want for the video series. Birds and Flowers said, the gastric brooding frog. Has anybody ever heard of a gastric brooding frog from Australia? It's been extinct since 2002. As far as they know, the last one died 20 years ago. The female swallows her own fertilized eggs, ingesting them in her stomach 6 weeks. The young emerge from her mouth as tiny, fully developed frogs. Swallows her eggs, and her stomach is her womb. How did that evolve? She can hold 24 young. They make up 40% of her body weight. By comparison, a woman of 150 pounds would have to carry 24 babies weighing 4 pounds each to pull off such a pregnancy. The frog female survives with her lungs being so compressed, she must breathe through her skin for 6 weeks. So, question, star, evolutionist, explain step by step how this evolved. And I don't want to just hear a story. Well, let's hear it, so it must have evolved. No, no, no. Come on, science, real science, guys. Come on, bring it on, okay? The eggs and young release chemicals that prevent them from getting digested. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How did the eggs learn to put that chemical out? Did they all get digested for millions of years until they finally learned, oh, this ain't working? Come on. Who stops eating for 6 weeks? Explain how she developed that ability to stop eating for 6 weeks. Huh? Come on. I would like a real scientific explanation. If she's threatened, the female can vomit them out so some may escape. She can expel them more than a yard, spit the baby out 3 feet. Whoa, how did that evolve? Come on now, let's hear it. Either it works or it would fail. Duh. There had to be one quantum step. Oh, that's a weird way of saying we don't know how it happened, so it had to happen quickly, a whole bunch of things. Right. Okay. Mr. Tyler wrote, P.S. Don't mean to write a book, but I have seen pill bugs burst open underneath and tiny pill bugs spew forth. We'll get into pill bugs another time, okay? Birds and flowers, thank you for what you did. Either it works or it fails. I agree. The now extinct gastric brooding frog used to give birth through its mouth. Australian Wildlife Protection Council. The gastric brooding frog were a genus of ground-dwelling frogs native to Queensland and Eastern Australia. They only had 2 species. They both became extinct in the 1980s. The genus was unique because it contained only 2 known frog species that incubated the pre-juvenile stages of their offspring in the stomach of the mother. Well, why do they have such an oddball way? If they're related to the rest of the frogs, why such a crazy way of having babies? Lay the egg and swallow it. I'd like an explanation, guys. How did this happen? The mother frog converts her stomach into a womb. How did that happen? See, for millions of years, she didn't do it. She swallowed them all right, but they digested them, She swallows her own eggs and stops making hydrochloric acid. Whoa. How did that evolve? To avoid digesting her own young. 20 to 25 tadpoles hatch inside her, and the mucus from their gills continues to keep the acid at bay. How did that happen? How did the baby frogs know to make acid in their gills so the mother doesn't digest them? Come on, guys, let's hear a scientific explanation for this. Come on. Thank you, birds and flowers. This is what I'm talking about. Simple lesson, how gastric brooding frogs make babies. You guys, I defy you to explain it with your evolutionary religion. Okay? How about Suriname toads? Enter the world out of holes on their mom's back. First, the female toad lays her eggs. Then the male toad fertilizes the eggs and places all the eggs on the female's back. Slow down. What? How did this evolve? How did the male toad know, after he fertilizes the eggs, to pick them up and put them on her back? How did that evolve? I don't want to hear a story. I want to see the evidence. Come on, guys. Why put them on the back? How many other animals put them in a nest or something? No, put them on the back. And they dig a hole into the skin and grow and hatch in the mother's skin. Skin grows over the eggs. Well, wait. How did that happen? For millions of years, Mama didn't grow the skin. She wondered, what's that old man doing putting them eggs on my back? Oh, I don't know. Finally, she learned, I better grow skin over these things. Yep, protecting them till they hatch. After about 7 days, the baby toads squirm out of the holes. Pretty amazing. Yeah, I think it's more than amazing. I think maybe God designed it just to make the evolution theory look dumb. He worked too. God, good job, God. Okay. After the Suriname toads mate, the eggs sink gradually into the mother's back, where the eggs incubate for 3 to 4 months until the froglets are ready to emerge out of their mom's back. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Are you glad humans aren't born that way? How about this one? Aksolotl. What is this? The insane biology of the axolotl. The axolotl has external gills. Whoa. Explain how that evolved, please. I want to hear it, okay? It's got lungs also. Gills and lungs, interesting, okay? It has all kinds of organs inside. How did these organs evolve? This creatures, it only appeared one little tiny place right there in Mexico, okay? How on earth do they reproduce? What is axolotl? Mexican walking fish, neotenic salamander. This means that it retains its larval stage throughout its life and can stay in water their whole life. How did that evolve? Axolotl come in a variety of different colors called morphs. They have 4 primary colors: white, black, gold, specks, and fluorescence. Their gills can also come in different shades of red, pink, and black. These amphibians can regenerate lost limbs. Cut their leg off, it grows back. How did that evolve? Come on, let's hear a step-by-step explanation now. How did this creature make babies? How did it get to be like it is? Comes in 4 different colors, basic colors, okay? How many genes do axolotl have? Using the comprehensive transcript set, we annotated a total of 23,000 protein-coding genes. That little tiny creature, 23,251 genes. Could you please explain how it made it, how it lived when it only had 23,250 genes before the last one formed? How many things have to be, you guys do computer work, Matt? Let's take a typical computer code, PowerPoint. How many lines of code would you guess that has? Millions. How many mistakes can there be in a line of code that'll screw it up and make it stop working? One. Any one mistake somewhere along the line can screw it up and it stops working. The gene code of all these animals is way more complicated than PowerPoint. And they think it happened by chance. You guys really, really need your head examined. Man, okay. How did this happen, guys? 23,251 protein coding genes. We adapted an established mapping approach to leverage dense SNP typing information for the first time, assemble the axolotl genome into 14 chromosomes. So they spent a whole bunch of government money, I suspect, doing research on this axolotl. They found out it's got a really complicated code. Way more complicated than all the lines of code for PowerPoint or Microsoft Word. Way more. And it happened by chance, didn't it, guys? I don't want to hear that. I want to see some science out of you evolutionists. Come on. All you have is a religion. How about this one? What happens if you cut an axolotl in half? Cut the thing in half. If an axolotl loses a limb, the appendage will grow back at just the right size and orientation. Within weeks, the seam between old and new disappears completely. It's not just legs. Axolotls can regenerate ovary and lung tissue, even parts of the brain and spinal cord. Okay, guys, let's hear it. How did this evolve? Come on, real science now. Quit playing. Can an axolotl regrow its heart? Met a guy today having a heart transplant, okay? Mexican axolotl is an aquatic salamander that can regenerate multiple body parts, including its limbs and internal organs, such as heart, brain, and lungs. Now listen, I would like you evolutionists to go to the pet store and buy one of these critters and figure out how it makes a new brain, because you need one. Axolotl, cut the arm off, it automatically seals the wound and starts growing new parts. It's been well studied. How did this evolve? Huh? Come on. The adorable underwater creature is capable of regenerating body parts, including its brain. How did that happen? Come on, bring it on. Let's hear it. It's real science now, not a story. And don't change the subject and say Hovind doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't get an approved degree from an accredited university. I don't want to hear anything. It doesn't matter. Burden's on you. How did this thing get the ability to do this? How did it evolve? They can regenerate the front portion of their brain. You can crush the spinal cord. In about 3 weeks, all of the spinal cord machinery would reconstruct, and the tail and the legs will work again. Could you explain that to me, please? Age and condition in which axolotl can reproduce. In the wild, they can reproduce when they're 7 months old. Let's see. Mating is initiated by colder weather and shorter days. Well, that's just right for them to produce, and the babies grow at just the right temperature. Otherwise, it's too hot, too cold, they can't survive. How did it learn? How did it evolve the ability to reproduce at the right time. How many other animals reproduce in the right season of the year so the babies grow up at the right time with the right weather? How did that evolve, guys? Come on. In captivity, you can cause mating to occur by lowering the temperature of their water. Process of reproduction. When conditions are optimal, a male will initiate interest of a female by nudging her hind legs with his snout. If the female accepts his interest, she will produce eggs inside her abdomen. How did that evolve? He nudges her leg, she starts producing eggs. Now, come on, let's hear it. I don't want a story. I want to hear the science. How did this happen, guys? Come on, bring it on. Once the eggs are ready to be fertilized, she will secrete hormones. Pheromones. So once she knows, hey, these eggs are ready for sperm, she secretes a smell that attracts the male. How did that evolve? Now we know it works. I don't want to hear, hey, it works, so it must have happened. No. How did it happen? Give me a step-by-step scientific reason. This signals the male to produce sperm in the form of spermophores or sperm cones. Gelatinous sacs that hold sperm secreted onto rocks or other surfaces. So he doesn't put it in her. Her smell makes him produce sperm to put it on a rock. Glad I'm not one of them critters. Okay. The female will follow the male around to collect all the spermophores. How did that evolve? Come on now. He nudges her leg. If she's interested, starts producing eggs. Once the eggs are ready, she secretes a pheromone, a smell. This signals the male to produce sperm. He puts the sperm in little piles all over the aquarium, and she follows him around to collect them. Think about it. See, this series is called Making Babies. This is how they do it, guys. I'd like you to know, I'd like you to explain with your evolutionary religion how this happened. The female will position her cloaca over the sperm and suck them into her abdomen. So she swims over the sperm sac and sucks it in. How the ability to suck it in, the desire to suck it in, the knowledge to suck it in. How did that happen? He deposits these little sperm sacs all over the place. Now, wait a minute. The production of sperm is expensive to the male. Making millions of sperm is a great resource drain for any male of any species. How does the male know how to make complex sperm? Each sperm cell is unbelievably complex, each one. And he makes millions and goes around depositing them around the aquarium. How come? Well, she smells good. She smells good in the water. Oh, okay. How does it make the exact sperm needed for the female? I bet for millions of years the male was making the sperm that would impregnate a hippopotamus on mistake. Are you with me? Are you thinking? Come on now. Doesn't the sperm have to be exactly the right match to match the female's egg? Yeah. Why would it want to make more competition for its food supply? Why does any animal or plant want to reproduce? All that does is increase competition. How many of you have had kids and noticed they are expensive and they help drain your resources? Have you noticed that? Why didn't any of the plants or animals just evolve the ability to live forever? Come on now. They lay eggs in a gelatin. Wait. How does the female know? How does she make this gelatin egg? And the gel is a very special chemical to protect the egg. Similar to that of most tadpoles spawn. She can lay eggs 6 times a year in the wild. Young female lays 100 eggs. A mature female can lay 1,500 eggs at one time. Imagine changing all them diapers. Let's see. Life cycle begins through an embryo, which is held by the female. This egg will then be fertilized by the male spermatophores. When the fertilized egg, a young hatchling will appear at roughly 14 days. How complicated would the code be to create a young tadpole, hatchling? That's got to be complicated. And it all happens in 14 days. Whoa, quite an assembly line she's got going there. 1,500 of them in 14 days. Yeah, that's busy, okay? I'd like you guys to explain how it happened. Eggs are released from the female in random orientations. She don't care, just lays them. But they automatically, many sperm enter the egg, but only one sperm nucleus fuses with the egg nucleus. Wait. How did that happen? What's the evolutionary explanation? What if it gets fertilized by 20 sperm? How did it know to shut off after one? Huh? I know it. That's the only way it works. I know. Tell me how it happened with your evolutionary religion. It prevents any further sperm from coming in. Soon as that one sperm touches the egg, shuts off all the rest of them, they can't come in. How did that process evolve, guys? Come on. You can read all about these creatures for yourself. I would like to know, you guys are saying this all happened by chance. I don't believe you, and I don't believe you believe you. And I know you can't come up with an explanation for any of these. Fertilization occurs within a few hours to a couple days, resulting in the female releasing 400 to 1,000 eggs during spawning. The female axolotl has the capability to breed several times continually, restarting the process after each one. Well, how did that develop? And she lays these hundreds, maybe 1,000 eggs in this little gelatin sac, each one. The gel is exactly the chemical composition needed for the baby to develop all its body parts according to the complex code it inherited from its mom and dad. Guys, give an answer. How did it evolve? Not a story, science, okay? Real science.